Today we're going to be learning about adding and subtracting algebraic fractions. We're going to start off by talking about the process that we need to follow when we add and subtract algebraic fractions. The first thing you need to do is you need to find the LCD, or the lowest common denominator. This is the smallest expression that all the denominators can divide into evenly. Then once you've found the LCD, you need to combine all the fractions into a single fraction with the LCD as the denominator. Adjust each numerator by putting it in brackets and multiplying it by the factors its denominator was missing compared to the LCD. Once you've done this, you need to then simplify the numerator. You need to expand the brackets and combine all the like terms in the numerator as needed. And then you need to simplify the fraction if possible. So now let's go and have a look at an example. In this example, we've got x plus 3 over 2 plus x minus 2 over 5. Okay, so let's have a look at how we would do this question. Okay, so first of all, we need to find the LCD. So for this question over here, I've got a denominator of 2 and a denominator of 5. The smallest number that both of those can go into is 10. So my LCD is going to be 10. Okay, so I'm going to have a fraction that is over 10. Now, instead of putting each of these fractions over 10 separately, I'm going to combine them into one fraction because it's going to make it easier when I'm then multiplying out and getting rid of my brackets and simplifying, because it's all going to look like one algebraic expression at the top of my fraction. Okay, so this is something you need to get used to doing now, is when you are adding and subtracting fractions now, we're going to be combining them into one fraction right at the time that we find the LCD. Okay, so our LCD is 10. So I need to multiply 2 by 5 to get 10. That means I need to multiply my numerator by 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the 5 that I'm multiplying by, and then I'm going to put the existing numerator over there in brackets. So x plus 3. So I'm multiplying that whole numerator by 5. And then I've got a plus. And now I look at the next fraction. I need to multiply the 5 by 2 to get 10. So I need to do the same thing to the top of that fraction. So I need to put a 2. And I need to multiply that whole thing by 2. So that means that I'm going to put that in brackets as well. So when we are combining it all into one fraction with the LCD as the denominator, we write each of the existing numerators in brackets and we multiply them by whatever their existing denominators were missing from the LCD. So whatever we have to multiply that by to get the LCD, that's what I'm going to multiply that numerator by. Okay, so now let's go and multiply out. Our next step is we need to expand and simplify what is on top of our fraction. So we need to multiply the 5 in. Now remember, we've learned how to multiply into brackets like this. So I'm going to multiply the 5 in there like that. So I've got 5 times x, and that's 5x. And then 5 times 3 is 15, so it's plus 15. Then over here, I've got 2 times x, and then 2 times negative 2. So that's plus 2x and minus 4. And that is all still over my denominator, which is 10. Okay, so once I've done that, I need to then go and combine my like terms. So my like terms over here, I've got 5x and 2x. If I add those, I get 7x. And then plus 15 minus 4 gives me plus 11. And that is still over 10. Now, once I get to this point, I can't simplify this any further. That means I'm now done with this question. So we're not going to try and split this up again into separate terms. We're going to keep it as one fraction like that. Okay, so that's how you do that question. Now I'm going to give you a few that you're going to do for yourself. Here's the first one that you're going to do. You've got x over 3 plus y over 4. You need to simplify this as far as possible. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to work on this question. Okay, so let's go through that question and see what you should have got. Okay, so first of all, we need to find our LCD. So I've got denominators over here, 3 and 4. The lowest number that both of those can go into is 12. So my LCD is going to be 12. And remember, we're going to combine this into one fraction. So I'm going to have 12 in my denominator, and I'm going to have my fraction line on top of that. And in my numerator, I'm going to take each of these numerators that I've got over here, I'm going to multiply them by whatever I need to multiply my denominator by to get 12. So I need to multiply the 3 by 4 to get 12. I'm going to have 4 and then the existing numerator in brackets. Plus, over here I need to multiply this by 3, so I put 3 over here, and then I put the existing numerator in brackets. Now, for this particular example, you could actually have just left out the step of putting in the brackets. It's not necessarily always essential to do it. You can skip out the step sometimes, but I want you to be careful because there are times when you might think you can skip out the step of putting in the brackets and then you can end up with problems. So just be aware of that. So in this case over here, I have 4 times x is 4x, and then plus 3 times y gives me 3y, and that is over 12. And then we are done with this question. Okay, so like I said, you could have gone straight from there to there for this particular question. You can skip out the step of putting in the brackets for this question. Okay, right, let's go on to question B. Here we've got a over 8 minus b over 6. I'm going to give you 30 seconds for this question as well. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, with the denominators 8 and 6, you should have found that the LCD is 24. Okay, so I need to multiply 8 by 3. So that means I'm going to multiply the top by 3. So that's 3 times a is 3a. And then minus, I need to multiply 6 by 4 to get 24. So I'm going to multiply the top by 4. And that gives me 4 times b is 4b. Okay, so in this case over here, I'm skipping out the step of putting in the brackets because it's just a single term at the top and it's a very simple multiplication like that. So I get 3a minus 4b over 24. Okay, let's go on to question C. In question C, we've got a over 4 plus 5a over 6 minus a over 3. I'm going to give you 1 minute to do this question. Okay, so let's go through that question. So over here, I've got the denominators 4, 6, and 3. The lowest common denominator is going to be 12. So I have a 12 over here. And I need to multiply each of these by something to get 12. So over here, I'm going to multiply the 4 by 3 to get 12. So I need to multiply the top by 3. So that's going to be 3 times a. And in this case, I'm going to put it in brackets. You didn't necessarily have to, but I'm going to. Okay, so it's 3 times a and then plus. Now I need to multiply this by 2. So I need to put 2 over here and then put the numerator in brackets. So it's 2 times 5a. And then minus, I need to multiply this by 4 to get 12. So it's going to be 4 times a. Okay, so now I'm going to go and get rid of those brackets. So I've got 3a plus 10a minus 4a, and that all goes over my LCD of 12. Okay, now in this particular example, I can go and simplify further. In the last two I couldn't, because those were not like terms. I couldn't combine them. But here I've got like terms. Now I can go and combine these. So 3a plus 10a minus 4a, that gives me 9a over 12. Okay, but now I'm not done yet, because if you look at the 9a over 12, I can actually simplify that further. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So your final answer for this one should be 3a over 4. And now it is simplified as far as possible. So that's what you should have got for question C. Right, now let's go on to the next one, question D. In question D, you've got a plus 2b over 5 minus 4a minus b over 3. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute for this question as well. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, I've got the denominators 5 and 3. My LCD is going to be 15. That's the lowest number that both of those can divide into evenly. So I have 15 is my denominator. And now I need to go and multiply each of the numerators by something to get 15. Now, when you have got more than one term in the numerator, you do need to put the numerator in brackets. You can't skip out the step of putting the numerator in brackets. Okay, so over here I've got 5. I need to multiply that by 3 to get 15. So I'm going to have 3 and then a plus 2b in brackets. Minus, I need to multiply 3 by 5. So I'm going to have minus 5 and then 4a minus b in brackets. Okay, once I've done that, I then go and multiply out my brackets. So I've got 3 times a, that's 3a, and 3 times 2b is plus 6b. Then I've got negative 5 times 4a, that's minus 20a, and negative 5 times negative b is positive 5b. Okay. And that all goes over my denominator of 15. Right, once I've done that, I now need to go and simplify by combining my like terms. So I'm first going to look at my a's. I've got 3a minus 20a, that's negative 17a, and then 6b plus 5b is plus 11b, and that goes over 15. Okay, and now I've reached the point where I can't do anything else, so it is simplified as far as possible. So that's what you should have got for question D. Now let's go on to question E. In question E, you've got x over 10 plus x over 15 minus x over 30. I'm going to give you 1 minute for this question as well. Okay, so let's go through that question. Okay, so over here I've got 10, 15, and 30 as my denominators. The LCD for this question is going to be 30. Okay, so I need to multiply the 10 by 3 to get 30. So I need to multiply the numerator by 3, and that gives me 3x. Okay, so when I've only got one term in the numerator, I can skip out the step of putting in the brackets. But remember, if you have two terms or more than two terms, you have to put in the brackets. But here, because it's only one term, I can go straight to 3x. Okay, then plus, I need to multiply 15 by 2 to get 30. So I need to multiply the x by 2, and that gives me 2x. And then I've got a minus, and then the 30 is already 30, so I don't need to multiply the x by anything, so it stays x. Okay, so now I'm going to go and simplify the numerator over here because these are like terms. So I've got 3x plus 2x minus x. That gives me 4x over 30. Okay, so now I need to look and see if I can simplify this. So 4 over 30, they are both divisible by 2. 2 goes in there twice and 2 goes in there 15 times, so I end up with 2x over 15. So that's what we should have got for question E. Right, let's go on to question F. Okay, so for this question, you've got x plus 1 over 3 minus x minus 5 over 6 plus a half x. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this question. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, before we get on to doing our LCD, I just want to tell you this over here, this half x, is actually the same as x over 2. If you look at a half x, what it actually means is a half times x over 1, okay? So now, because I can't cancel anything out here, I multiply the top and the top and the bottom and the bottom, and that gives me x over 2. Anytime that you've got a fraction as the coefficient of a variable, then you can just put that variable up at the top of the fraction with any other number that might already be at the top of that fraction. So if this was 2 over 3, the x would go up with a 2, okay? But because it's a 1, when I write it as x over 2, it's actually 1x over 2, but I don't write the 1. Okay, so a half x is the same as x over 2. So I'm going to rewrite this like that. So this is x plus 1 over 3 minus x minus 5 over 6 plus x over 2. So that is actually the question that I've been given over here. It's just been presented a little bit differently with having the half written as a coefficient of x, as in a number in front of x. Okay, so now we're going to go and carry on as normal. So our LCD, if we're looking at the denominators 3, 6, and 2, the LCD is going to be 6. And then I need to multiply 3 by 2, so I'm going to have 2, and then x plus 1 in brackets, minus, now I don't need to multiply 6 by anything, but I still have to put this in brackets. Remember I said whenever you have more than one term in the numerator, you have to put it in brackets. Okay, so I've got x minus 5 in brackets. Okay, and then over here I need to multiply the 2 by 3 to get 6, so I'm going to multiply the top by 3 as well, and that gives me 3x. You can put the x in brackets there if you want to, but it's not essential because there's only one term. Okay, so now over here, that is all one fraction now. Now I'm going to go and expand and get rid of the brackets over here. So I've got 2 times x, that gives me 2x. Then 2 times 1 is plus 2. Now this is why it is so important for you to put this in brackets, because if you look over here, this whole fraction was being subtracted, which means that both of the terms in this numerator have to be subtracted. So I have to apply this negative to each term in the numerator, and if I didn't put the brackets there, I would not apply that negative to each term. I would only be applying the negative to the first term. So over here, remember, if I've got a negative in front of the brackets, it's actually negative 1. So that you can't see it, but there's a little imaginary 1 over there that you can't see. So I'm multiplying negative 1 in, and that gives me negative x. And then negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. So if you didn't put this in brackets, you would still have negative 5, but it's supposed to be positive 5. And then we've got our plus 3x. And that is all over 6. Right, now that we've done that, we need to go and simplify by combining our like terms. So I've got 2x minus x plus 3x, that gives me 4x, and then plus 2 plus 5 is plus 7, and that goes over 6, and then I can't do anything else, so that is simplified as far as possible. So that's what you should have got for question F. Right, now let's go on to the next example. In all the examples we've done so far, we've only had numbers in our denominators. We haven't had any variables. Okay, but now obviously that's not all that you can ever get. You can get variables in the denominator, so you need to know how to deal with them. You need to know how to find the LCD when you've got variables in the denominators. Okay, so let's take a look at how we should do this question. So first of all, we need to find our LCD. So first I'm going to look at the numbers. Okay, I'm going to find out what the LCD is for the numbers in the same way as normal. So my numbers, I've got 2 and 10 and 5. So the LCD for 2, 10, and 5 is 10. Okay, so that part of the LCD shouldn't be anything strange or different or difficult. It's normal, you're used to doing that. But now let's have a look at our variables. I've got a over here and I've got a squared over here, and I don't have any variables in this one over here. Now our LCD has to contain any variables that are in any of the denominators to the highest power that I see in any of the denominators. So over here, the highest power of the a is a squared. So that means my LCD needs to have a squared in it, because a goes into a squared. Remember, the LCD is the smallest expression that all of the denominators can divide into evenly. A can divide into a squared. A squared can also divide into a squared, so I don't need to have a higher power than a squared. I just need to have the highest power that I've got here in any of my denominators. So I go through any variables that I've got. So if you've got more than one variable, you do each of the variables separately. So the first variable is the a. So I'm going to go through all of the a's and I see what is the highest exponent. It is the 2 over here. So my LCD needs to have a to the power of 2. Okay, now we're going to go and carry on like normal. So over here, I'm going to take the first numerator, I'm going to have it in brackets. So I've got 3a plus 1, and I need to multiply this by whatever I have to multiply 2a by to get my LCD, just like normal. So first I look at my number. What do I need to multiply 2 by to get 10? I need to multiply 2 by 5 to get 10. So I'm going to be multiplying by 5. But then I'm not done because a is not the same as a squared. Okay, so I need to multiply a by something to get a squared, which is what I have in my denominator. So I need to multiply a by another a to get a squared. So I'm going to be multiplying over here by 5a. Okay, now let's go on to the next one over here. I've got minus, and then I'll put my 7 in brackets. And now I'm going to be multiplying over here. 10 is the same as the 10 over there, so I don't need to multiply by anything as a number, okay? But I do need to multiply by a squared because I don't have any a's over here. So to make this the same as that, I have to multiply by a squared. So I'm going to multiply over here by a squared. So I've got negative a squared times 7. And then I've got a plus. And now over here, I need to multiply 5 by 2 to get 10. So I'm going to have a 2. And then a squared is the same as the a squared. So I don't need to multiply by any a's for this fraction. So I can put my numerator in brackets now. 2a minus 3. Okay, and then I can go and multiply this out. So 5a times 3a is 15a squared. Then 5a times 1 is plus 5a. Then I've got minus a squared times 7 is 7a squared. And then I've got plus 2 times 2a is plus 4a. And 2 times negative 3 is minus 6. Okay, so now we're going to go and put that over our denominator of 10a squared. And then we can go and simplify by combining our like terms here. So I've got 10a squared. And then now I'm going to go and go through each of these in the order from highest power down. We always try and write our expressions in descending powers. So over here, I'm going to start with my a squared, and then I'll do my a and then my constant. So I've got 15a squared minus 7a squared, that is 8a squared. Then plus 5a plus 4a is plus 9a, and then the only constant is this minus 6. And that all goes over 10a squared. And that's what you should get for that example. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a few that you're going to do for yourself. Here's the first one that you're going to do. You've got x over 2y plus 4x over 3y. I'm going to give you 1 minute to simplify this as far as possible. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, you have to find out what your LCD is for this question. So first I look at my numbers. I've got 2 and 3. The lowest common denominator for 2 and 3 would be 6. And then I don't just have 2 and 3. I've also got a y here and a y here. So my LCD has to have a y in it. It's not going to be y squared because this y goes into y and this y also goes into y. Neither of them has a higher power, so I don't need to have a higher power in my LCD. Remember, the LCD has the highest power that any of the existing denominators will have. Okay, so that is my LCD over there. So now I'm going to go and multiply over here. To get 2y to 6y, I need to multiply by 3. So I'm going to be multiplying the top by 3, and that gives me 3 times x is 3x. Plus, over here, I need to multiply 3y by 2 to get 6y. So I'm going to multiply the top by 2. So 2 times 4x. I can put it in brackets or I can work it out straight away because it's a simple monomial over here. So I can multiply 2 by 4x and that gives me plus 8x. And then we're going to go and collect our like terms and combine them because they are like terms I can. So 3x plus 6x is 11x, and that is over 6y. 11 and 6 can't be simplified, and the x and the y are different. So that is as far as we can go for that question. So for question A, you should have got 11x over 6y. Right, let's go on to question B. Here we've got 2 over x minus 3 over x squared plus 3x. I'm going to give you 1 minute for this one as well. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, you need to remember that anytime you can't see a denominator, the denominator is 1. Okay, so we've got over here, our denominator is x, x squared, and 1. So I don't need to worry about a number part of my denominator because it's just going to be 1. But what I do need to have is my variable part. So I've got x and x squared. So remember, our LCD needs to have the highest power that any of the denominators have. So it's going to be x squared. Okay, because x goes into x squared, and x squared also goes into x squared. Okay, so my LCD over here is going to be x squared. So now I need to go through and see what I need to multiply each of the existing denominators by to get x squared. So I need to multiply x by another x to get x squared. So I'm going to multiply the 2 by x, and that gives me 2x. Minus, then over here I've got 3 at the top, and the x squared is already the same as the LCD, so I don't need to multiply by anything, so that 3 is going to stay 3. And because it's only one term, I don't have to worry about putting it in brackets, so it's just going to be 3. Then I've got over here plus, then the 3x is over 1, so I need to multiply that by x squared to get x squared. So I'm going to multiply the top by x squared, so I've got 3x times x squared, or x squared times 3x. You can just work it out straight away if you want to. That gives me 2x minus 3 plus 3x cubed, and that all goes over x squared. And then remember I said we need to try and make sure that we write our final answer so that it's written in descending powers, in this case of x. So it's going to be the 3x cubed first. Then I've got 2x, and it's positive, so it's plus 2x, and then minus 3, and that all goes over x squared. So that's what you should have got for question B. Right, now let's go on to question C. In question C, we've got y minus 3 over 6y minus 2y plus 1 over 3y plus 4 over 9. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this question. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, my LCD, 6y, 3y, and 9y. I'm going to look at my numbers first. I've got 6, 3, and 9. All of those go into 18. So the number part of my LCD is going to be 18. And then I also need to have the variable part. So if I look at my variables, I've got y, and then no variable. So I don't need to worry about any other variables. It's just y's. So I need to have y in my LCD. I need to have the highest power that is in any of the denominators. The highest power is y to the power of 1. So it's just going to be y to the power of 1 over there. Okay, so it's 18y for my LCD. Now let's go and have a look at what our numerators are going to change to. So I need to multiply 6y by 3 to get 18y. So I need to multiply the top by 3. That's going to be 3. And then in brackets, y minus 3. Minus. Then I need to multiply 3y by 6 to get 18y. So I need to have 6 over here and then 2y plus 1 in brackets. And then plus. And now over here, I need to multiply the 9 by 2y to get 18y. So I need to multiply over here by 2y and then have my 4 in brackets like that. Okay, now again, because it's only one term, you could have just multiplied that straight away. So over here, I'm going to get rid of my brackets now. So I multiply the 3 in, that becomes 3y. And then 3 times negative 3 is minus 9. Then I've got negative 6 times 2y is negative 12y. And negative 6 times positive 1 is negative 6. And then 2y times 4 is plus 8y. That all goes over my denominator of 18y. Now we can go and combine our like terms. So we've got 3y minus 12y plus 8y. 3y plus 8y is 11y minus 12y is negative y. And then negative 9 minus 6 is negative 15. And that all goes over 18y. And that's what you should have got for question C. Right, let's go on to question D. Here we've got x squared plus 4x plus 3 all over 5x cubed plus 6 over 2x minus 2x minus 1 all over 10x squared. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this question as well. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first of all, I need to find my LCD. So I've got 5x cubed over here, 2x and 10x squared. So if I look at the numbers, I've got 5, 2, and 10. The lowest number that all three of those can go into is 10. So the number part of my LCD is going to be 10. Then I need to look at my variables. Now I've got x cubed, x, and x squared. So I don't have any other variables besides x. So I need to have 10x, but I have to have the highest power that I've got in any of my denominators. So it's going to be x cubed. Okay, so my LCD is 10x cubed. Right, so now let's go and see what we're going to have at the top of our fraction. So first, my first fraction over here, 5x cubed, I need to multiply 5 by 2 to get 10. So I'm going to have 2, but I don't need to multiply by any x's because x cubed is already the same as x cubed. So I'm just multiplying by 2. So I've got 2 and then times x squared plus 4x plus 3 in brackets. Then I've got plus, now this 2x, I need to multiply 2 by 5 to get 10, so I'm going to have 5 over here. And then I need to multiply x by x squared to get x cubed. So it's going to be 5x squared. And I'm multiplying that by the existing 6 over there. Then I've got minus, and then for 10x squared, the 10 is already the same as the 10 in my LCD, so I don't need to multiply by a number, but x squared is not the same as x cubed. I need to multiply by x to get x cubed. So I'm going to have x over here, and I'm going to multiply that by 2x minus 1 in brackets. Okay, so now let's go and expand these to get rid of our brackets. So over here, 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times 4x is plus 8x. 2 times 3 is plus 6. Then I've got plus 5x squared times 6 is 30x squared. Then over here, negative x times 2x is negative 2x squared. And negative x times negative 1 is positive x. Okay, so now that all still goes over my LCD of 10x cubed. Okay, so once I've done that, I need to go and combine my like terms. So my x squareds first, I've got 2x squared plus 30x squared minus 2x squared. So over here, the 2x squared and the minus 2x squared are going to cancel each other out. So I just have 30x squared. Then my x's, I've got plus 8x, and then over here, plus x. So that's going to be plus 9x. And then I've got plus 6 for my constants. And that all goes over 10x cubed. And that we should have got for question D. Right, now let's go on to the last one for today, which is question E. Here we've got 4a plus 3 over a squared plus 4a minus b over ab minus 2 over b. I need to give you 2 minutes for this question as well. Okay, so let's go through that question. So first I've got a squared, ab, and b in the denominator. So I need to find my LCD. So I don't have any numbers to worry about. So my LCD isn't going to have any numbers in it. It's just 1. But I've got a squared, a, b, and b. I've got 2 variables. I've got a's and I've got b's. So first let's have a look at our a's. Okay, remember I need to have the highest power that I have in any of the denominators. So if I look at my a's, I've got a squared and I've got a. The highest power is a squared. Then if I look at my b's, so it's a squared and then b. If I look at my b's, the highest power is just b. I don't have b squared or b cubed, so it's just b. So my LCD is going to be a squared b. Okay, so now let's see what we're going to do to our numerators. Right, so for my first fraction, if I've got a denominator of a squared, I need to multiply that by b to make it the same as my LCD. It's already got the a squared over here. I don't need to do anything to get another a, but I do need to multiply by b. So I've got b and then multiply by 4a plus 3 in brackets. Plus, for this one over here, first let's have a look at our a's. I've got a, I need a squared, so I need to multiply by a. Then my b's, I've got b, I need b. I don't need to multiply by anything to make them the same. So I'm just multiplying by a for this fraction. So I've got a times 4a minus b in brackets. Then I've got a minus. Now this one, I've got b. I need a squared b. So I need to multiply by a squared. And I don't need to multiply by any b's because I've already got the b that I need. So I'm just multiplying by a squared in this one. So it's a squared times 2. Okay, so now let's go and get rid of our brackets. So b times 4a, that is 4ab. And then b times 3 is plus 3b. Then I've got plus a times 4a is 4a squared. And a times negative b is minus ab. And then negative a squared times 2 is minus 2a squared. Okay, so now let's go and simplify that. We're going to go and combine our like terms. Okay, so over here, first I'm going to do my a squareds. So I've got 4a squared minus 2a squared. That is 2a squared. Then I'm going to go on to my ab's. I've got 4ab minus ab. That gives me plus 3ab. And then my b, I've got just this 3b over here. So it's plus 3b. And that all goes over my denominator of a squared b. And that we should have got for question E. And that is how we add and subtract algebraic fractions. Now that we've learned the concepts in this lesson, it's important to practice, practice, practice. If you haven't already got the worksheet that goes with this video, you can find it by clicking on the link in the description below. The worksheet comes with an extra exercise full of questions for you to work on to master the concepts covered in this lesson. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button so that others can benefit from it too. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you can easily find my other lessons, and hit the bell so that you will get notified about lessons as I upload them.